Welcome back, everyone. Middays with Gerard Gilbert is coming at you live from Mississippi Blood Services. Please come out and donate blood. There is a shortage, and the need is urgent and critical, and we're going to keep saying it. You never know just how important it is until you're on the other side of that bag. That from the great late J.T. Williamson. Joining us now out at Mississippi Blood Services, my good friend, Representative Fred Shanks, representing District 60 in Rankin County. Good morning there, Representative.
How you doing, Gerard?
Doing great. How about you, sir?
Good. Glad to be here.
Well, glad to have you. Is this your district, by the way?
No, I would say Old Brandon.
Okay.
So this is probably going to be Gene Newman.
Okay, a little further east?
Yeah.
You are?
Correct.
Okay. Well, Gene's probably listening.
He probably is.
Good for him. Yeah. All right, so a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to start out by getting your take on the investigations up there on the Hill yesterday. Not sure if you caught any of that, but I kind of summarized it. You may have heard in the last segment. The Democrats are all about spinning it and deflecting blame over to the former president.
Yeah.
And the Republicans, for the most part, were asking questions to try to drill down and getting to the bottom of what occurred with that just calamity. It's just politically motivated.
Absolutely. With Blinken, he can just literally deflect and say whatever he wants to, and it's okay. It just goes away. And they hammered him on some pretty good questions. That
he did. He got tripped up a couple of times on some questions about specifically on the whereabouts and the fate and the disposition of some of the Afghanistan nationals that were transported out of the country, and he started stuttering and stammering, and he kind of sounded like Joe Biden himself, which tells me he not only did not really have any good answers, he knew that was a problem.
Exactly.
But he didn't show up. He conducted this hearing virtually.
That's convenient.
The House Foreign Affairs Committee. He just was a little shocked by that he can't even make the time on something so important. Such a high-profile situation to most Americans?
Well, it shows you where their priorities lie right now.
They're too damn busy in the back office whipping up more tax increases. That's all.
That's accurate.
That's what their focus is. Forget about that Afghanistan debacle. Look over here. We got new taxes.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see AOC's attire at the Met last night?
I've been talking about that all morning. Just the hypocrisy of that. From what I understand, that was a $35,000 ticket just to get in.
Yes.
I obviously don't know anything about dresses, but I'm sure that was tens of thousands of dollars that was wasted on that. And the best analogy I've heard is that it looked like a Chick-fil-A to-go bag. It really does.
Did the writing on. So if you haven't seen, folks, you should go look it up. She had a white dress which had imprinted in red and kind of not real formal sort of type and type font, said "Tax the Rich." That was the dress she wore to an event, by the way, staged by an organization that is funded by the rich.
By the rich, yeah.
It just made no sense whatsoever. But that shows you, and it's all about. It's really not so much about helping people or growing the economy or expanding GDP. It's all about let's go tax those dirty, greedy, selfish, dastardly rich people. Look at me, I tax the rich, vote for me. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people in this country that cast their vote on that basis.
Absolutely. I think people just keep seeing more and more of that. They're getting fed up. We've been fed up, but I think things like this just go to that absolute extreme.
And of course, she's smart now. She's a smart politician. She gets immediate national notoriety because she wears this dress.
Absolutely.
And she turns around and she flashes that big smile because it's on her back of her dress. It's a cocktail long dress, tax the rich, in red on a white dress. And you're right, it does look like the Chick-fil-A, which is supposed to be writing that was done by the cow, right? That's what it looked like. That's great. I hadn't thought about that. But anyhow, the Democrats are busy cooking up their tax and spend scheme. Nothing that I've seen has come out of them that would actually help to grow and expand opportunity in the economy. It's all about taking the present pie and just dividing it up even further.
And I believe I read that if you are above a certain income level in New York, they're basically going to take
61.9%.
And I'm sure that applies to California as well.
Yeah, it's like 59 and change is what you would be paying.
Nobody's going to live there.
I don't see how. I mean, but that is the plan. And the other thing that's noticeably missing from this tax plan is elimination of the SALT cap, which is kind of a non-starter for many Democrats because it affects their constituents, and that essentially limits the deduction of state and local taxes to $10,000. And folks in these big Democrat strongholds, California, Connecticut, Illinois, et cetera, property taxes are outrageous, way more than $10,000, even from a normal median-type home, and you don't get to deduct those taxes.
Oh, yeah.
So
DeSantis is just going to keep seeing them come down his way.
I think you're right about that. All right, so it is September, nearly the middle of September, and other folks in the House that have been on here recently said they think the governor might call a special session to deal with this medical marijuana deal. What do you hear?
I hear that is the case. I know that Representative Yancey has been working very hard with Senator Blackwell. I know they probably meet 2 or 3 times a week. I know they're real close on getting a deal done. And, I mean, if the I know that the governor would, as long as we have a plan, I think he'll call a special session, and I believe we can come in a day and get it knocked out.
Yeah, he says he won't do that unless he's sure the votes are there.
That's right.
There's agreement, consensus between the House and the Senate to get that done. So my understanding is as well that Representative Yancey and Senator Blackwell are getting pretty close on ironing all that out.
I talk to Yancey every week, and they just keep getting a little bit closer every day from what I understand. So just ironing out a few details, and hopefully we can come together and get it knocked out.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. Do you think the lieutenant governor and the speaker are they talking about this at all? Are you hearing anything on that?
Yeah, I know they're talking somewhat. I don't really know any of the specifics of that, but I know it's getting bounced around.
We had hearings a couple of weeks ago, as you know, called by Senator Josh Harkins down there at the Capitol about tax reform, and in particular, we're exploring the bill that passed the House this past session that was, for the most part, authored by the Speaker,
correct,
I think. And so that was an interesting couple of days. Haven't really heard much feedback since then. What have you heard?
Well, obviously on the House side, I mean, we thought it went well. I popped in for a few, and then, of course, I listened to you end it, and thought you did a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'm in agreement with the speaker on it. I do think it would help a lot of people. And is it a perfect bill? No, but we can certainly go back and tweak it if we need to, or do different things. But you brought up a good point. You said that, it's a big idea, and to get something like this done, which is complex, and it is a big deal. But, I mean, you have to – we got to get our foot in the door and get it started. Yeah,
and as you recall, the message that I delivered at the end there was don't do something token.
Yeah.
Don't do something small. Don't do something meaningless. Do something transformational. Do something big.
Absolutely.
Do something bold. Otherwise, don't do anything. Yeah. But my fear is that that's what we end up with. And I'm saying this again, and I'm going to say it repeatedly because I'm trying to hammer that message home, hopefully to our friends listening in the legislature. If you just do something token and then put a check mark on a bullet point on a bingo card in your next campaign that says I voted to cut taxes.
Yeah.
And you cut it $200 a year.
You get a bad product. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't do anything.
So hopefully we'll get something big there. All right, what are some of your legislative priorities coming up in 22? It's right around the corner here. What do you think?
Well, I'm on the joint legislative redistricting committee, so we've been traveling all over the state the past couple of weeks, and we will be working on congressional redistricting until the end of the year, and then in January we'll actually start on the legislative redistricting. So that's been taking a lot of my time.
That's right, I forgot about that. You're heavily involved.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. It's something people don't really think about, but because it only comes around every 10 years. But really big deal, and interesting fact that I found out is on congressional redistricting, the difference in voters in each district is one person. That's how detailed it is. It's down to one vote, one person.
How about that?
Yeah. So
Can you hang around?
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we got a little bit more we can talk about. Stay with us, folks. We're at Mississippi Blood Services Middays with Gerard Gilbert. Rhino back in the studio. We'll be right back.